What's up everybody, it's Jay here. Today we're gonna be doing some yard work, but I'm not talking about mowing and pulling weeds. What we're actually gonna be doing is we're gonna be replacing the septic lines from the house into the septic tank and the well water supply lines that go into the house. We're gonna be removing the pressure tank from the house and relocating it into the garage, and also trying to find out what's going on with all the septic work in the yard. Now, this is a huge project that we took on over multiple weeks. So I'm gonna be finding the best parts and giving it to you in a couple of videos here coming up. I've been out here without water for a few months now, so replacing this well line is gonna be a huge step in the right direction to making this place more easy to live in. Before I jump into the work, I wanna say if you're enjoying this style of content, it would do me a huge favor if you just hit the like button down below. It really means a lot to me. If you want to follow this renovation from start to finish, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be uploading nearly weekly on the progress for this property. And with that said, let's get going.
All right, so we are starting out by removing the wall between the smallest bedroom and the bathroom. I'd shown in multiple videos before how bad this wall was, from the bottom plate being in absolute shambles to the plumbing and the electric being funny throughout. We thought it was best to go ahead and rip this thing completely out and replace it before we started putting the walls back up. This cast iron vent pipe is obviously original to the house, and it's one of the few things that we still needed to remove. Now, it's notable that this vent pipe goes directly down to the main septic line that we're going to be replacing, because we are going to be replacing all the old septic lines, including the main septic line that goes to the septic tank. Now, this bathroom floor has been remodeled before, and we can tell that because the main subfloor is actually made of OSB instead of the 45-degree angle structural plank like you see throughout the rest of the house. But some of it, especially near the tub and the toilet, was in bad enough condition that we wanted to replace it anyways. Besides, we needed to get access to all the plumbing. What we found under this floor was a crazy amount of things scabbed together. We have what I like to call the Franken joist right here, which is what, 3 different 2x6s bolted together in strange patterns. We have lead pipes and cast iron all together, and it's kind of making a mess. But we don't care because we're coming back with new PVC and we're making all new runs out to the septic and into all the drains in the house. One of the questions we had is, where is the sink draining to? Because the bathroom went out from under the footer independently from the kitchen drains, we had to kind of do some guesswork on where all the lines were going. We had heard from the neighbor that the previous owner was having troubles with flooding in the yard, and so we sort of started digging around to see if we could find out if there was a plugged line or if the plumbing had burst, or just to see what was really going on. And what we found was kind of surprising. There was a piece of PVC sticking up near the side of the house by where the drain was, and they had knocked holes in the brick wall, I'm guessing to tie in that new line. But it wasn't buried more than 6 inches in the ground.
So here's the state of things. Spent a lot of time digging. We got that drain line from the old washer and dryer pushed back under. We pulled up this white PVC that went to, well, nowhere, basically. And we were able to find that this guy, the drain that is right on this other side of the wall right there, comes out at about a 30-degree angle right there and breaks off. Poured some water down there and you can see the pipe's busted. I probably dug through it, honestly. Heads right over towards the septic tank.
Yeah, buddy, we were done wasting time with shovels and decided to rent a trackhoe to help us get these lines replaced much more quickly. There's an added benefit to this though, because now that we had this trackhoe, we could also replace the water lines going to the well into the house. Not to mention, I spent my entire childhood playing in the sandbox training. Now, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I took the pressure tank and the hot water heater out of a closet that was sitting in the middle of the living room. What I'm going to be doing now is digging a new line that goes into the utility room that's connected to the garage. Now we have a free closet, and we're not going to risk bowing our floor again because of the heavy water tank sitting in the middle of the closet. I would not have tried to take this on if I had stuck with my original plan of trying to dig this all by hand. While my dirt here is fairly easy to dig because it's sandy, the depth I would have had to go to and the extra 30 feet of digging really deterred me from wanting to do it by myself.
Okay, the well is directly behind the tractor. Trying to find that water line and stay with it. So we found it right here. I tried to dig it both ways, but I'm gonna have to turn this a little bit because it's going over there to the left. Out here, the frost line is about 16 inches. So the water line needs to be below that. At this point, it's probably about 2.5 feet deep. That's about what it's looking like. The electric line is right underneath it. So if you see, this is right, there we go. See that right there? That's the electric line that feeds the pump.
The wire that was running to the pump was coming out from underneath the crawl space in the house and was just buried in the yard going over to the well. We wanted to change that since we were also altering the layout of the water supply lines. What we wanted to do instead is move that electric line to be powered by the sub panel in the garage instead of running back to the main panel and tied into the pressure tank in the closet. If you're unfamiliar with how pressure tanks work, don't worry, I really didn't know it either until I had to replace my own. The pressure tank has a sensor on it which will tell the well when to kick on whenever the line pressure for the water gets too low. So wherever your pressure tank is, you're also going to have to supply the power to the well from that location, in this case, the garage. Before I started this renovation, I didn't realize how easy and affordable it was for normal homeowners to rent equipment like this. I hadn't looked around and I just assumed that you basically had to be a business owner to justify the cost of renting something like a track hoe. Now that I've started this, I've rented multiple pieces of machinery, and I would say spend the money and save your time. It's worth every single penny that you get out of it. With the track hoe returned and the majority of the trench roughed out, I went ahead and finished it off by hand. There wasn't really much room to maneuver the equipment, and I didn't trust myself getting that close to the house or the well. I figured I was probably just going to break something, so it was back to the shovel.
It's kind of like Minecraft, but not. It's getting dark out here and it's starting to rain. I'm gonna go ahead and stop digging for today, and I'll start working on something else inside. I got the majority of the hand digging done, I think. I at least exposed the line right here all the way down to the well, minus the last 2 feet or so right up next to the well. Couldn't get that with the equipment, and just haven't dug that part out. But as the rain is starting to come down, it's only threatening to get worse. Come on. So I'll work on that later and find something else to do, at least for a few minutes.